All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today is going to be more of a review lesson, though I don't know how many of us actually remember this. We've talked about going from radian to degrees and back. So if you remember, your calculator has two modes, a radian mode and a degree mode. And we've talked at length about both being viable measures, okay? There's this idea of measure in math, and it has to talk about different systems really of measurement, but we're talking about being in degrees or in radians, and there's advantages and needs for both. But one skill that we really have to have down is we have to be able to go from either radians to degrees or degrees to radians. So right now, the first question that we see here on today's notes is asking us to go from radians to degrees. So when we're converting from radians to degrees, we need to multiply by 180 over pi. And that's all there is to it. Okay, the pi's will cancel. And so all we're doing here is multiplying 3/4, and we're multiplying that by 180 degrees. And we get 135 degrees. That is it. Remember, when you're entering this into the computer, don't input a degree symbol, don't put x equals, don't put anything. Just the number 135. So and then in the second example, when they ask us to convert 5 pi over 12 radians to degrees, we're going to do 5 pi over 12. We're going to multiply by 180 over pi. Those pi's cross out, and all we're doing is multiplying 5/12 and 180. Make sure that you go up, you go to the right. You don't want to have the 12 times 180 on the bottom of the fraction. Common mistake there. So 75 degrees, but again, I'm just putting 75. Okay. So now let's go the other way. So I'm starting with 105 degrees. What am I multiplying by? Well, I'm actually going to multiply by pi over 180. And when I'm plugging this in, I'm still using that alpha y equals button. I'm going to use 105 and 180, and I'm going to hit enter. Now, some calculators will simplify this for you, some won't, but either way, you've got to get to simplest form. And so if you look at 7/12, you're going to then just tack on that pi, and so you would get 7 pi over 12. Now, radian, we've talked at length about how it doesn't have a unit. Similar to those of you in chemistry know that it's not, degrees Kelvin, it's just Kelvin if you're talking about a temperature scale, whereas it's degrees Fahrenheit, degrees Celsius. It's just Kelvin. So something like that. It's just radians. It's not degrees radian or anything like that. Let's do 140. So when we're doing this, again, we're trying to put it in radian mode. We're going to multiply by pi over 180. And again, I'm going to just simply put into my calculator 140 over 180. And I'm going to hit enter. Again, if your calculator doesn't automatically simplify that, it's just 7/9, and you tack on the pi up top, so 7 pi over 9, and that will be your answer. All right, so again, hope that there are no questions with this, but if there are, I'm more than willing to take them, because there are other methods for converting from degrees to radians and radians to degrees, so I'm happy to help in any way that I can. If you've maybe discovered a different method, or maybe a tutor has showed you something different, definitely willing to help with that, and we can kind of go through those methods. But I think this is the most concise method. You either multiply by 180 over pi, or you multiply by pi over 180, and you just reduce as necessary. There'll be some questions asking you to convert from radians to degrees or degrees to radians that you'll practice with. And then just to give you a heads up, the next assignment, we're going to ask you to do a trig quiz. We'll count it as a quiz grade, and it'll be a culmination of everything we've been talking about over the last few weeks. So again, I hope that everyone is well in your homes, everyone is doing well, and if you have any questions, you need anything, please do not hesitate to reach out. All right, I will see you on the next one.